I'm your host, Darren, and welcome to Whispers of Southern Ohio.
It's an honor to be back, Darren.
Tonight, we're heading deep into the wooded hills to a place where pavement gives way to gravel and a simple concrete arch holds a story that's been passed down for generations, whispered in hushed tones from one carload of curious teenagers to the next.
A place a lot of locals know, but maybe don't fully understand. Schrader Road.
Exactly. And beneath that road, there's a tunnel, old, dark, and steeped in a particularly chilling piece of Appalachian folklore. It's known simply as Crybaby Tunnel.
You can feel the temperature drop the moment you step out of your car. The air gets heavy, damp. It smells of wet stone and earth. And sound travels strangely in there. Your own voice comes back to you, but it's different, distorted by the curved, damp walls.
But it's the silence you go there for, the moment after you kill the engine and the headlights when the woods just hold their breath around you.
Because that's when they say you can hear it, faint at first, a sound that doesn't belong in the deep, dark woods, a child's cry.
So, Mark, let's peel back the layers here. Before the legend, there was the railroad. What can you tell us about the origins of this tunnel?
Well, this structure dates back to the mid-1850s. It was built for the Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad, a vital artery that was meant to connect Ohio River to the economic hubs further west. This was a monumental undertaking, carving a path through the rugged, unforgiving hills of southern Ohio.
Right. Iron horses breathing steam and smoke, cutting through ancient forests.
Exactly. The tunnel under Schrader Road is a remnant of that era of ambition and brute force engineering. It was a culvert, really, designed to let a small creek and local farm traffic pass under the massive earthen embankment built for the tracks. Over time, the railroad became part of the B&O, the Baltimore and Ohio, and this line saw less and less traffic until it was finally abandoned in the late 1970s.
The rails were pulled up, the right-of-way grew over, and all that was left was this forgotten stone archway in the middle of the woods. And with that emptiness, a new story began to root. That's fascinating. So much of our landscape was shaped by that iron will. What about the men who built it? That was dangerous work. Are there any stories that linger from the construction itself before the baby's cry was ever heard?
That's right. The history was forgotten by many, and folklore filled the void. The legend of Crybaby Tunnel isn't a single clean narrative. Like most good ghost stories, it has variations, each one adding a different shade of tragedy. That's an excellent point. The work was incredibly perilous, often done by immigrant laborers in brutal conditions. While there aren't specific named ghost stories from that time tied to this exact tunnel, the broader area has tales of restless spirits of workers lost to rock slides, cholera, or construction accidents. It's entirely possible that the tunnel's inherent gloominess comes from a much older foundational sorrow that predates the more famous legend. These stories often layer on top of each other.
What's the most common version you've heard, Mark?
The most prevalent one tells of a nearby settlement that was wiped out by a sudden flood. In the chaos, a desperate mother placed her infant in a wooden cradle, hoping it would float to safety. But the current was too strong, and the cradle was swept into the dark mouth of the tunnel, never to be seen again.
And so the story goes, on still, quiet nights, the baby's cries can still be heard echoing from the stones, a perpetual search for its mother.
Another version is more direct, more violent. It speaks of a carriage accident on the road above. A family's horse-drawn wagon veered off the path, tumbling down the steep embankment. The only fatality was the youngest child, an infant, whose spirit is now trapped by the tragedy.
And there's an even darker tale, isn't there? One that's less about accident and more about despair.
There is. This one talks about a young, unwed mother, ostracized by her family and community. In a moment of absolute desperation, she took her newborn to the tunnel and left it there, unable to bear the shame. Her guilt, or perhaps the child's own anguish, is what leaves a spectral cry behind. It's the most heartbreaking version, I think.
Regardless of the telling, the core elements remain: a lost infant and an inconsolable cry that haunts this lonely place. You've been there yourself, Mark, as part of your research. What was your impression when you first arrived?
The first thing that strikes you is the isolation. Schrader Road isn't a main thoroughfare. It's a winding country road. The tunnel itself is completely obscured by trees until you're right upon it. It's shorter than you might expect, maybe 30 or 40 feet long, and it has a distinct curve to it, so you can't see all the way through from the entrance. That curve is key, isn't it? It creates a pocket of perfect darkness in the middle, even during the day. It really is. It feels oppressive. The walls are covered in decades of graffiti, a chaotic collage of names and symbols. The air is cool and still, and the acoustics are genuinely unsettling. Every pebble you kick, every drop of water from the ceiling, it all gets amplified and thrown back at you. It's easy to see how an overactive imagination could turn a whisper of the wind into something else entirely.
And people report more than just the cry. What are some of the other phenomena associated with the tunnel?
The local legends are full of them. A common ritual is to park your car in the tunnel, turn off the engine, and put baby powder on the hood. When you turn the car back on, they say you can sometimes find tiny, unexplainable handprints in the powder.
Classic. That trope appears in a lot of haunted road stories.
It does, but it finds a unique home here. People also talk about their cars stalling for no reason, or headlights flickering and dying inside the tunnel, only to work perfectly fine once they're pushed out. Then there are the visual claims, shadowy figures darting just at the edge of your vision, or small silhouettes standing at the far end of the tunnel, which vanishes when you get closer.
And what about the sound? Have you spoken to anyone who claims to have actually heard the cry? So we have these incredible claims. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment. From a purely skeptical viewpoint, how could you explain away some of these experiences? The car stalling, the handprints on the hood?
I have. I spoke to a gentleman who grew up nearby. He told me that as teenagers, it was a rite of passage to go there at night. He said on his third or fourth trip, after sitting in silence for almost half an hour, he and his friends heard it. He described it as faint, high-pitched, and profoundly sad. He was adamant it wasn't an animal, not a fox or a cat. He said it sounded human and full of hurt. He never went back after that.
That's the power of these places. They become more than just stone and earth. They transform into containers for our fears and our grief. It seems the tunnel serves that purpose for the community.
Absolutely. It's a landmark of local superstition. People who live on Schrader Road will tell you they don't go near it after dark, not because they're all true believers, but out of a kind of respect for the story. It's become part of the landscape's identity. The story is as real as the stone it's tied to.
So what does a place like Crybaby Tunnel ultimately represent in the broader tapestry of Southern Ohio folklore?
I think it represents a thin place, as the old Celts would say. A spot where the veil between our world and another feels especially fragile. But more than that, it's a testament to the power of oral tradition, especially in a region like Appalachia.
The story is the important thing.
Yes, these stories are how we map our world emotionally. They attach meaning to otherwise forgotten places. A derelict railroad tunnel is just a piece of the King infrastructure, but Crybaby Tunnel is a memorial. It's a place of tragedy, a focus for our deepest fears about losing a child, about innocence lost.
And why do you think these stories endure so strongly? We have science and technology, but a 150-year-old tunnel can still scare us.
Because they speak to something fundamental in us. The legend of the crying baby taps into a universal, primal fear. It's also a way for a community to process its own history of hardship. Life in these hills was not easy. Infant mortality was high and tragedies were common. This story, in all its forms, is a kind of collective memory, a ghost that reminds us of the fragility of life.
It becomes a cautionary tale, a shared secret, and a test of courage all at once. It connects generations through a shiver down the spine.
Precisely. Whether you hear the cry or not is almost irrelevant. The act of going there, of sitting in the dark and listening, that's what keeps the legends alive. You become part of the story yourself.
Thank you for joining me on Whispers of Southern Ohio. If you'd like to explore more of my work, you can follow me on my Amazon author page at amazon.com/author/Mark H. Rowe and visit me at markhrowe.com for more stories, books, and updates. Until next time, keep your lantern close and your curiosity closer.